Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We have completed this revision of the first chapter, that is Constitution, Why and How. And now we will discuss the questions which are given in your textbook. And in this, we will see that the first of all, some MCQs are there, multiple choice questions are there, and in this you will see the first question is about the functions of the Constitution. Which of the following is not a function of the Constitution? There are four options, and you have to choose which is not a function of the Constitution. In attempting the MCQs, you must be very careful in reading the question, because the question is about not a function of the Constitution, and many times we get confused कि the question is about the function of the Constitution, or we make mistakes. So this must be taken into consideration. So the options are, we will see the first option is it gives a guarantee of the rights to the citizens. This is the function of the Constitution, because it is one of the most important function. By this, the Constitution actually limits the powers of the government. So this is not our answer. Then the second option is it marks out different spheres of power for different branches of the government. Government के different ब्रांचेस होते हैं, और उन डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस के फंक्शंस को ये डिमार्केट करती है. दिस इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट फंक्शन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, है ना. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट इट कि कैसे किसको डिसीजन लेना है, हाउ द गवर्नमेंट विल बी फॉर्म्ड, what will be the powers of the organ. All these are functions of the Constitution. So this is also not your answer. Now the third option is it ensures that good people come to power. This is not the function of the Constitution. Constitution has nothing to do with this fact कि who comes to power. The Constitution gives us a framework for the governance कि कैसे रूल होना है, गवर्नमेंट कैसे फॉर्मेशन होगी, डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स के पावर क्या होंगे, उनके बीच के आपसी रिलेशन क्या होंगे. एवरीथिंग इज देयर इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, बट हु are going to come to power, the government has nothing, the Constitution has nothing to do with this. So this is not the function of the Constitution. So our answer is C. For question number 1, our answer is C. It is not the function of the Constitution. And now we can also consider the fourth option, that is it gives expression to some shared values. Yes, the values, the principles, the goals are always there in the Constitution. So it also expresses these values and principles of the people. Okay. And now the second question, this is also MCQ, and in this we see the question is which of the following is a good reason to conclude that the authority of the Constitution is higher than the authority of the Parliament. So why the authority of the Constitution is higher than the authority of the Constitution? The question is, authority of the Constitution is higher than the authority of the Parliament. Parliament की authority से ज़्यादा ऊपर की जो जगह है वो दी जाती है Constitution की authority को. Why? This is the question. Now we will see the options. The first option is the Constitution was framed before the Parliament came into being. That is not the correct answer. The Constitution was framed only because of time. We can't say कि Constitution पहले आया इसलिए Constitution की authority ज़्यादा है, और Parliament का existence बाद में हुआ इसलिए Parliament की authority कम है. We can't say this. ये गलत होगा कहना. This is not the correct explanation. Now the second option is the constitution makers were more eminent leaders than the members of the parliament. This is also not a correct option. कि हम नहीं कह सकते हैं कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की अथॉरिटी इसलिए ज़्यादा थी क्योंकि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बनाने वाले जो लोग थे, the people, the members of the constituent assembly were eminent leaders than the members of the parliament. We can't compare the eminence of the leaders, है ना? So this is also wrong. Now the third option is the constitution specifies how parliament is to be formed and what are its powers. Parliament कैसे formation होगा, how the parliament will be formed, what will be the powers of the parliament, all these are decided by the constitution. As we have seen, one of the most important function of the constitution is to specify ki, how the government will be formed, what will be the powers of the different organs of the government. तो पार्लियामेंट का फॉर्मेशन, पार्लियामेंट के पावर्स, एवरीथिंग इज डिसाइडेड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. So obviously, the authority of the constitution will be higher than the parliament, क्योंकि पार्लियामेंट को बनाने वाला कौन है? पार्लियामेंट को बनाने वाला कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है. How the parliament came into existence? Only because of constitution. So the authority of the constitution is higher than the authority of the parliament. So in the second question, we have C is the correct option. And now we can also consider the fourth option. The constitution cannot be amended by the parliament. This is also not correct कि constitution को हम amend कर ही नहीं सकते हैं बिना parliament के. Constitution can be amended by the parliament. The process of amendment is given in the constitution and it can be amended by the parliament only. Parliament plays the prominent role in amending the constitution. So this is the wrong option. And now we will switch to the third question. And this third question is also about true or false. We have to see the statement is true or false. The first statement is constitution are written document about formation and powers of the government. As I told you, constitution, many times we consider that the constitution is a written document, but this is not true, because in many countries, in some countries, not, we can't say many countries, in some countries the constitution is in unwritten form, like in the country of United Kingdom. In UK, the constitution is not written. The constitution is unwritten. It is not in the form of a book. It is scattered in various documents, and then so many conventions are there which are important part of the constitution. So it is not essential for a constitution to be a written document. So the first statement is false. Question 3 में हम देखेंगे कि जो पहला स्टेटमेंट दिया गया है वो क्या है? That is false. Now the second statement is constitution exists and are required only in democratic country. This is also not true. कि constitution it's not important for a country to be democratic for a constitution. Constitution एक undemocratic country में भी हो सकता है. Suppose we have discussed about this also, like USSR. In the country USSR, it was not a democratic country. There was single party system. Communist Party was the only party in USSR. So in USSR, the constitution was there, but the country was not democratic. So it is not always necessary or essential for a country to be democratic in order to if it is having द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। अगर इसके पास कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि वो डेमोक्रेटिक ही होगा। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन होने के बावजूद वो कंट्री अनडेमोक्रेटिक हो सकती है। इसके एग्जाम्पल में हम लोग यूएसएसआर एंड चाइना both can be given in its example. Okay, and now we will see the third statement. Third statement is about constitution is a legal document that has nothing that does not deal with values and ideals. This is also incorrect, false, because we have seen in the process of the discussion of our constitution that constitution is, yes, of course it's a legal document, but it is also a kind of moral document, because so many ideals, so many values, principles, goals are there in the constitution कि क्या हमारा aim है, what we want to achieve through this constitution. All these principles and values and goals are given in the preamble of the constitution. So this is also incorrect, or we can say false. And now the fourth statement is it's about a constitution gives its citizens a new identity. This is a correct statement, because this is one of the most important function of the constitution, to give identity to the citizens. Like our constitution gave us a national identity, it also gives us political identity and moral identity. We have discussed about this when we were discussing the functions of the constitution. So this is true. Okay, now we will proceed to question number 4. This question number 4 is about the inferences about the Indian constitution, और जो inferences निकाले गए हैं इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से वो करेक्ट है या इनकरेक्ट है, ये हमें देखना है। ठीक है, तो द फर्स्ट इन्फरेंस इज नॉट ओनली वी हैव टू गिव कि वो करेक्ट है या इनकरेक्ट है, हमें उसके रीज़न भी बताने हैं। अगर हम कह रहे हैं कि यस इट इज़ करेक्ट, तो वाई इज़ इट करेक्ट? If we are saying no, it is incorrect, then why is it incorrect? So the first inference is the Constituent Assembly did not represent the Indian people since it was not elected by all citizens. This is we have discussed about this in a great detail, and we have seen that though our constituent assembly is not formed on the basis of universal adult suffrage, still what we find that our constitution is our constituent assembly was a highly representative body. So in this question 4 का जो फर्स्ट हमारा इन्फ्लुएंस है कि हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली जो था वो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव नहीं था, इट वाज नॉट रिप्रेजेंटिंग द इंडियन पीपल बिकॉज इट वाज नॉट इलेक्टेड बाय ऑल सिटीजंस। इसमें हमारा फर्स्ट पॉइंट होगा कि यस it was not formed on the basis of universal adult suffrage. Still, we find that it was highly representative. Why? Because there was representation on the basis of community, when we discussed about the cabinet mission plan, I told you the three communities, Muslim, Sikhs and general, they were given representation in the constituent assembly according to their population. So on the basis of community it was representative. Then we will see that on the basis of representation of Dalits, as we have seen, 28 members of the Constituent Assembly belong to the Dalit community. So this denote that the assembly was representative. And then we see the last point we can say that it was dominated by Congress party. The Constituent Assembly में हमारे जो Constituent Assembly थी इसमें 82% of the members were from Congress. And Congress itself was a party which was representing the whole country, not any particular section or any particular class. So, in this way, by giving these 3 points, we can say the first point is yes, it was not based on universal adult suffrage, and that is why this allegation is put against our constitution कि ये representative नहीं था. But still, we find these 3 points, and these proves that our constituent assembly was a representative body. And now we will see the second statement. The second statement is also about this constitution. Constitution making did not involve any major decisions since there was a general consensus among the leaders at that time about its basic framework. जो इसका बेसिक फ्रेमवर्क था उसके रिगार्डिंग जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स थे उनके बीच में एक ब्रॉड कंसेंसस था. सो इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकिंग में बहुत मेजर डिसीजन लेने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी क्योंकि जो मेजर डिसीजंस थे वो पहले से लिए जा चुके थे. दिस इज करेक्ट. Yes, this is correct. Why this is correct? Because we can prove it by this objective resolution which was presented by Pandit Nehru in the Constituent Assembly. And in this objective resolution, we find that all the basic principles were given by Nehru कि क्या क्या हमें adopt करना है. Like federalism होनी चाहिए, then other than federalism, parliamentary form of government, then लोगों के rights की भी बात हुई, international peace and security की भी बात हुई. तो basic जो principles थे उस पर consensus था because जो हमारा national movement से जो हमने inherit किया था वो यही inherit किया था कि हमारे basic principles क्या होने चाहिए. तो ये एक फाउंडेशन जो था वो हमारा तैयार था और उस पर सिर्फ अब क्या करना था कि एक कंक्रीट शेप देना था हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली को. तो जो हमारा क्वेश्चन 5 है उसके अंदर what points we must include in question number 5. The first point is objective resolution. Objective resolution which was presented by नेहरू. ठीक है, इसमें हम लोगों ने सारा कुछ डिस्कस कर लिया है. देन apart from this we find that inheritance from national movement. जो नेशनल मूवमेंट के समय में जो चीज़ें स्टैब्लिश हुई उसी को हमने आगे बढ़ाया थ्रू दिस constituent assembly. And now the third statement is there was a little originality in the constitution, for much of it was borrowed from other countries. When we were discussing it, I told you it is a major allegation which is put against the Indian constitution. It is called bag of borrowing. Nothing is original in this constitution. It is not correct. We can't say कि हमारे constitution makers ने कोई भी मेहनत नहीं की और उन्होंने बस जहाँ तहाँ से चीज़ों को उठा करके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना दिया. दिस इज नॉट द करेक्ट explanation. In this regard, we will see that our constitution makers were very much aware of the circumstances and the needs of the people of the country. एंड इट्स नॉट कि उन्होंने सिर्फ इमिटेशन किया कि कहीं से उठा के ले लिया, बल्कि उन्होंने जो कुछ भी लिया प्रोविजंस को डिफरेंट कंट्रीज से, उसको अपने कंट्री के नीड के अकॉर्डिंगली उसमें चेंजेस लाए और तब उसको एक्सेप्ट किया. उस पर बहुत लंबे चौड़े डिबेट्स हुए, डिस्कशंस हुए, और इस बात का एफर्ट किया जाता था कि कंसेंसस पे हम पहुंच जाएं, ताकि किसी तरह का ये ना हो कि अगर एक मेंबर भी डिससेटिस्फाइड है किसी एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोविजन से, तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि उस मेंबर को सेटिस्फाई करने का एफर्ट किया जाता था, बिकॉज दैट वन मेंबर मे बी रिप्रेजेंटिंग द होल कम्युनिटी और द सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. तो ये जो चीज़ें हैं, इसके बेसिस पे हम ये प्रूफ कर सकते हैं कि ये स्टेटमेंट रॉन्ग है. Okay, so in this answer, you should include following points. This is your C. And this you must write that our constitution makers were very much, it was not a simple imitation. Then second point we can give that each provisions each provisions were accommodated according to the circumstance of the country. And then you can give third point that long debate and discussions on each provisions. So these are the reasons for which we can say that our constitution was not simply a bag of borrowing. Okay, and now we will move to question number 5. Now the question number 5 is about giving two examples. For what? Giving two examples each to support the following conclusion about the Indian Constitution. What is the conclusion? We have some conclusions and we have to prove it by some examples, two examples. Okay. The first conclusion is the Constitution was made by credible leaders who command people's respect. So in this regard, you can give example of any two leaders like Pandit Nehru, Sardar Patel, or B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. These were the leaders who were holding a very respectable place in the eyes of the people, and that is the reason that our constitution is having so much authority even after 70 years of its implementation. So, in this, you can give the names of the leaders, their respectable place they were holding in the eyes of the people, and the successful implementation of our constitution for the last 70 years. There was never such demand from any part of the society to change the constitution completely or to end the constitution. There was never such demand arose, and this proves that the authority of the constitution, and this authority of the constitution is coming from the मेकर्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जिन्होंने बनाया, वो इतने एमिनेंट लीडर्स थे, इसके कारण कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को इतनी अथॉरिटी मिली है. सो दिस विल बी योर आंसर. फर्स्ट you can write the eminent leaders, and then you can write the authority of the constitution. Okay, and now we will see the second statement or the conclusion. The second conclusion about the constitution is the constitution has distributed power in such a way as to make it difficult to support it. As we have seen, one of the most important function of the constitution is the balanced institutional design, and our constitution makers did this work in a very efficient manner. And in this, we can give the example, two examples. The first is our constitution makers, they went for this federal form of government, federalism. So, federalism, in which there is division of power between the center and the state. There are two levels of government, and in the second place, there is horizontal distribution of power among organs of the government. Organs में क्या आएंगे? Legislature, judiciary, executive, all these are organs of the government. तो इनके बीच में भी power का distribution किया गया. तो दो level पे हम लोग देख रहे हैं. This is vertical. As you have read in your class 10th, power sharing में तुमने ये पढ़ा है. This is vertical distribution of power and this is horizontal distribution of power, and both these were adopted by our constitution makers. Okay, and now we will see another function of the another question which is given. It's about the constitution is the locus of people's hopes and aspiration. This is also correct because constitution जो है वो लोगों के aspirations को represent करता है. This is the function of the constitution, and if we see it in the context of our constitution, we find that our constitution does this work very in a very effective manner, because we find there are provision of fundamental rights of the people, and in this fundamental right, this represent the aspirations of the people. People are aspiring for this लिबर्टी, इक्वालिटी एंड फ्रेटर्निटी, और उसको कहाँ जगह मिली है? हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स में. अदर देन फंडामेंटल राइट्स, देयर इज प्रोविजन ऑफ डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी, एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो very important provision, and it also represent the aspiration of the people, because जो भी डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी हैं वो किस चीज़ को बताते हैं कि सोसाइटी के अंदर वेलफेयर को लाना, दैट इज द मेन एम ऑफ द government. So in this C, conclusion C, you must describe two things. The first is fundamental rights, and the second is directive principles of state policy. So this is all for today, and we will discuss other questions in the next class.